Who the fuck did go here? What? No, I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone.
You're exaggerating. It's only 500 mora.
Hey! 500 mora is still a lot of snacks to Paimon!
Alright. I'll treat you to some desserts later. Anyway, I'm actually investigating a case right now. My mind is focused on work, which is why I didn't complete the joke at first.
A case? What happened?
Nothing major. But after finding out who was involved, I decided, on reflection, to handle this one myself.
Need any help? We only came here to hang out, so we've got the time. You may as well take us with you, and then when you're done, we can, you know...
Do you see him? The old man flailing around?
Oh, is he the one you wanted to talk to about the case?
Correct. That's right. Let me summarize the situation. A couple of days ago, Professor Cyrus suddenly received a threat letter.
A threat letter?
Exactly. Who sends a threat letter to an old man like me, for goodness sake?
This is the letter in question.
Cyrus, I have uncovered your secret. If you wish to prevent it from going public, leave 10 million mora at the back door of the cafe. Secondly, don't come looking for me. You'll never find me, but I will always be watching of your secrets. Finally, if you dare to report this to the Matra, there will be consequences. Wow, they sure didn't mince their words.
There were no witnesses, so currently the letter is all we've got. So, Traveler, Paimon, let's put our heads together.
Paimon's ready too!
Alright, take a look. Do you see anything suspicious? Whatever happens, they need this Mora. But just because they warned Professor Cyrus not to go to the Matra, doesn't mean they know what he'll do next. So, like you said, they need to wait and see. And crucially, the culprit said they'd be watching the Professor's every move.
Huh? Wait, are you saying...
Found you!
I thought I heard some familiar voices. Ah, and Sir Cyrus is here as well.
Oh, Kaveh, it's been a while. Zahahadi was talking about you last month. How have you been?
I think they should all be here. Traveler? Paimon? Are you in there? Could you come outside for a sec?
Look at this.
What the... What's this sword doing here? Is it supposed to keep out intruders? Huh? Where'd the wine cups go? I could have sworn I left them here after I washed them. Ah, there they are.
I'll have a cup too.
Can you see if the cookies are still on the table?
They are, and so are the fruits.
Oh, this is so bland. I should have gotten a few bottles of what Cyno's group was drinking last night.
Do tell. What were they drinking?
Oh, right, I forgot to mention. After discussing it with each other, we both agreed that something didn't feel right, so we went looking for you. This was a long way to come from the city. 𝚘𝚘𝚏𝚘 figured you were probably with Tighnari, so Gandharvaville was our first stop. But the Forest Watchers told us that you'd gone camping. Then, just as we were heading off to the campsite, we ran into Cyno. He said he was on a supply run. We exchanged a few words, and then he ran off. Anyway, some updates on progress on our end. I drew the emblem from memory again, but in more detail this time.
I checked some ancient texts for a similar design. The one I found was a little blurry, but the similarities in the general form and certain details were clear enough to confirm a match.
Yeah, and we're lucky we found anything at all. It turns out the emblem was all but lost to history. We scoured the entire Academia collection, and that book was the only one with a record of the motif.
Meanwhile, Arav managed to get Uraka to disclose his source. The one who told him about Cyrus's embezzled funds was a young man from the desert. According to Uraka, he had a striking presence and was well educated.
Apparently, the two met in the tavern over a game of cards. The guy claimed to be in the city for business as part of a merchant caravan. Uraka was intrigued when he heard what his new acquaintance had to say, and brought up the idea of extorting Cyrus for Mora. The guy encouraged him to go ahead with it, then handed him some pen and paper to write the letter.
I see. So it could be that this person planted the paper intentionally.
So, how do we find this guy? Did Uraka say where he is?
He doesn't know. He claims not to have seen him since that day in the tavern. The man gave him some tips on how to carry out the extortion, but from then on, Uraka was acting alone.
Nephis and Arav have gone to meet the Court of 30 and review the city's entry and exit records. Also, Nephis admitted that the Temple of Silence in the academia is just a facade. The true Temple of Silence once came to the rainforest to establish a collaboration with the academia. But, as time went by, the sages gradually became corrupt and foolish. The Temple of Silence felt that they could no longer trust the academia and ended the partnership. They retreated back to the desert about 400 years ago. Ever since its inception, the Temple of Silence has been the guardians of King Deshret's civilization and belief system. They traveled throughout Sumeru, sequestering and guarding any wisdom that posed a threat to the people's livelihoods. At its roots, it was a legitimate and reputable organization whose purpose was to guide people towards the right path.
The academia of the day knew that the split would damage their reputation if it became a matter of public knowledge. And so, they set up a dummy organization of their own to conceal the truth.
Not only that, but they managed to keep up the charade for hundreds of years!
So how did Cyrus become acquainted with the true Temple of Silence if they left centuries ago?
I'll bet that's the question that bothered Cyno. Probably why he went after him in such a rush.
Whoever is behind this, getting Uraka to extort Cyrus was only the first step of the plan. Their true goal in doing so was for Cyrus to see the emblem on the letter.
He must have recognized it right away. That'll be why he didn't want to involve the authorities. He probably hoped to take care of the whole thing by himself. Unfortunately for him, Cyno had other plans.
Since the desert is where the Temple of Silence originated, that is in all likelihood where Cyrus went.
Everyone, I have news from the core of 30.
Master!
Oh, so that's Nafis, Tighnari's master? Oh, we're finally getting to meet him in person!
It's a pleasure to meet you, Traveler in Paimon. Several independent eyewitnesses have reported seeing Cyrus and Mahamatra Cyno leaving the city at different times. Both were heading in the direction of Caravan Rebot.
Hold on. I see some people over there.
Do you think it's safe to ask them what they know?
Should be. I'll go...
No. I'll do it. Ah, hello there. I hope I'm not interrupting. My friend and I are looking for an elderly man who's gone missing around these parts. Any chance I could ask you a couple of questions?
Oh, a missing person, huh? Sure. What do you want to know?
I'm just wondering if you've seen him. Let me give you the details.
No need to hide it. I understand why you're wary of us. Still, you came to us asking for help. Do you want it or not?
I thought you were a group of merchants. Seems I was mistaken.
Your henchmen don't look like much. But something tells me they put up a better fight than most mercenaries.
Hey! Hear that, guys? You're my henchmen now.
Suits me, as long as I get paid for it.
Just cut to the chase already. I'm running out of patience.
All right. Come with me. All of you. And here.
What? Where are you looking? There's nothing here!
Please, step back.
Whoa! Something's coming out of the ground!
What is this enormous building doing here?
And how was it so well hidden? King Deshret's technology?
Wait, so... Hold on, who are you guys really?
Is this... the Temple of Silence? So you're a member?
All good questions. There'll be plenty of time to address them later. Grandfather, the person you wish to see is here.
Well done, Sethos. Greetings, one and all. I am Ba Moon, the current leader of the Temple of Silence. I know why you are here, and I thank you for your patience. Bring him out.
Professor!
Cyrus, are you okay?
Ah!
Watch what you're doing!
Oh, my apologies. We have no intention of causing you distress. But you must understand, Cyrus is of great importance to us. We had to find a way to bring him back to us. Cyrus owes me his life, and to the Temple of Silence, he owes a debt of gratitude. I let him go a long time ago, but now, the time has come to demand payment. For you, Cyrus, are a traitor. You once shared your learning with us, and joined us in our mission to revive the might of Hermanubis, to bring new hope, new opportunity. But then, you betrayed us. You bargained for your independence with your past contributions. And then you left, taking with you Hermanubis' might and the wielder of his power. We both know what I said to you that day. That as the leader, I grant you permission to leave, but that one day, the sands of time will catch up with you. And when that day comes, you must pay the price you owe.
You really know how to hold a grudge.
Hermanubis' might? And the wielder of his power?
Does he mean you?
Professor, anything to say?
The moon is right. I came here once before. He rescued me from the brink of death once, many years ago in the desert. When he learned that I was a scholar, he invited me to come here and revive the might of Hermanubis together. It was a great, daring plan, and one shrouded in secrecy. The Temple of Silence had been bereft of Hermanubis for too long. The strength of its faith and its warriors were waning. Bamoon proposed that we implant bar fragments, shards of Hermanubis, into the bodies of suitable vessels. If the experiment was successful, the spirit of Hermanubis would then dwell within the vessel. Many believers volunteered themselves for the experiment. But we soon discovered that the bodies of grown adults could not withstand Hermanubis' power. In the end, Bamoon offered his own adoptive grandson. One other child was identified as a suitable vessel, and his parents agreed to release him into our custody in exchange for a small fortune. These two children were our only hope for hosting Hermanubis' power.
For many years, the Temple of Silence had been in possession of 2 Ba fragments from Hermanubis. As remnants of his raw power, they were exceedingly rare treasures. The test subjects were sent into a room that had been prepared for the ceremony, and instructed to approach the Ba fragments, whose power had been amplified. If, after some time, this power did not repel them, this would mean that they were suitable vessels. The original plan was for a 3-stage experiment: resonance, implantation, and recovery and observation. The resonance stage went quite smoothly for both candidates. As the 2nd stage began, I realized a decision had to be made. Should we implant the fragments one at a time? This would allow us to monitor the results after the first round and adjust our plan accordingly. Or alternatively, we could implant each fragment in a different vessel at the same time and compare their effects. But as I was deliberating, both Ba fragments suddenly became active. They glowed with a light we had never seen before. I knew that if they were not implanted right away, they would disintegrate and be gone from the world for good. Our two vessels had both displayed great promise by successfully resonating with the fragments. Under the circumstances, the thought of implanting both fragments into the same vessel seemed out of the question. To preserve our faith and our power, we implanted each of them with a single fragment.
Ultimately, I ended the experiment and left, taking one of the children with me.
You and he, Sethos, you were our final hope.
You'd like me to return my power?
As a follower of Hermanubis, I have allowed this power to remain in the rainforest for far too long. Now, it is time to reclaim it.
Both my heart and mind are telling me that what you are proposing is a terrible idea. However...
Don't listen to him, Cyno. That power is no more yours to give than it is his to take. You have to understand.
I know. But if this is a question of your freedom versus a fragment of power, then... there is nothing to debate.
Sorry to interrupt, but in my view, there are a number of contentions here that still need addressing. Say that Cyno refuses to return his power, and you also refuse to release Cyrus. Then, we are at an impasse. I find it hard to believe that you went to all this effort without planning for that possibility. You're trying to gauge where we stand while keeping your remaining cards close to your chest. Well, my stance is, put the rest of your cards on the table. Then we can have a discussion.
Wait, those ears... So, we have a descendant of the 𝚌𝚘𝚎𝚘𝚘 in our midst. Splendid! Fate smiles upon us after all. Everything we have longed for, Hermanubis will provide. Perhaps this very day we'll...
Why is he coughing so much? He looks like he's in really bad shape.
I don't like to drag out conversations, so I'll just cut to the chase. Had Cyrus not stopped the experiment all those years ago, the plan would most likely have been a success. The wisdom of Hermanubis would have been ours. Still, it's no use talking about what-ifs. We cannot change the past. I'm not like my grandfather. The Temple of Silence has a grand legacy and a sacred duty to fulfill. So I'm not going to force your hand. You're all free to leave. Except for Cyrus. My grandfather gave him his chance once. And now I'm giving the rest of you yours.
Tighnari made a good point earlier. He said there has to be more to your plan than this, and I agree. All you and Ba Moon are after is the Ba fragment. The Professor will accept whatever fate you deem fit for him out of a sense of guilt. I am the one who has a choice to make. And that's how it was always going to be. Ultimately, you want to trade the Ba fragment for the Professor, correct?
I'm glad to see you're giving it some serious consideration.
I won't forsake my Professor. Nor do I intend to run from a problem that I must face sooner or later. Give me one night to make my decision.
That works. Then I'll be waiting to hear your verdict, Cyno. Oh, my grandfather still has a fair few things he wants to say to Cyrus, so I'll be escorting him back now.
I've taken some time to reflect on this. If I had to guess, Professor Cyrus came to the desert knowing that he would almost certainly never return. He's a stubborn man who tends to double down when he feels strongly about something. We won't get anywhere trying to convince him to escape.
I agree. My master Nephis says the same thing. Once Cyrus makes up his mind about something, he won't listen to reason.
So that's one thing. A few other things come to mind too. You've heard all you need to hear about the Temple of Silence. So on that, I don't have anything to add. My own memories of this place are hazy though. Probably something to do with the overpowering presence of the Ba fragments. That might explain why I suffered from constant headaches and fevers as a child. I do remember having some fleeting moments of profound emotion when vague images would appear in my mind. But I don't recall much, only bits and pieces. I was still young then, and all I could understand was that there was a strong will inside my mind. Thinking back on it now, I suppose it was 𝚜𝚜𝚔𝚝𝚜's way of trying to encourage me, even if we couldn't communicate. The power that came to inhabit my spirit was probably one of the cornerstones of their whole faith. So if the will and might of 𝚜𝚜𝚜 is a real, intangible thing, and they are its rightful worshippers, then...
You're not gonna give in to their demands, are you? Surely there has to be another way!
No. I have no intention of returning it. I need this power to protect Sumeru. But the temple has the right to make the final decision over its fate, since it belongs to one of the 7 pillars of King Deshret. So I will challenge them head-on, and win the right to wield this power for myself, fair and square.
This reminds me of something 𝚑𝚘𝚘 mentioned to me just before we left. He said that the Temple of Silence was originally founded by the ruling elite of the day. Traditionally, such organizations are bound by a strict and ancient code of nobility. 𝚑𝚑 has made similar observations about the desert tribes from his work trips there. He says many of them have their own internal rules. They talk about the importance of never dishonoring their tribal bonds, or the rules laid down by their ancestors. I think we could turn that to our advantage. Go back to them with a proposal of our own.
Wow, and just like that, we've turned the tables on them!
Looks like we have the same idea. Turn it back on them now while we still can, in terms that they cannot refuse. That's how we win this.
Great. And I know just how to start the conversation. Let's go find Sethos. We'll tell him that I know a thing or two about medicine and would like to take a look at his grandfather's condition.
That's all you've got? What happened to searching for your answer?
Fight's over. Do you yield?
You won.
Well then, looks like you found your answer.
I give his glory to you.
seen that light. That